The subject of the Alleghany County Comprehensive Plan is now on the public horizon, and County Administrator Jon Landford joins us today to briefly talk about it. Welcome, Jon.
Thank you.
The comprehensive plan has been updated, and the County Planning Commission is looking at details. You've had a public hearing. You're going to have additional public hearings. Tell us a little bit about this time around. It looks like you're trying to work with Covington a little more closely on planning. How did that all come about?
Just conversations and a realization. We were going through the same process of working jointly with the city to develop our revenue sharing agreement at about the same time that our comprehensive plans were coming due, and we realized the value of just working together. There's a line drawn that delineates the municipal boundary from the county boundary, but that's just on paper. And so growth, development, the community, that line really doesn't matter if we're going to be successful growing in the area. So we were working on our economic development strategy and developing that joint revenue sharing agreement. At the same time, we were both due to revise our comprehensive plan, and it just made sense to do it in a joint process. There'll be two separate plans adopted by both Covington and the county, but we've worked through the process with the joint steering committee, utilized the same consultant to help us draft those documents and put them together.
How do you align the priorities between a city and a county like Alleghany?
Well, you can only you clearly delineate where they are, but they can support one another. So the assets that the city has and that we use in the town of Clifton Forge and references attributes and goals and objectives for us to support are tied closely to the recreational aspects, the forest and land, the rural components of the county as well. So what's good for Covington is good for the county. What's good for Clifton is good for Covington. And if we can all work together in seeing the urban areas either developed or redeveloped or repurposed, then those will bring value and amenities to the rural area, and growth and use of the assets in the rural areas bring people into the area that can support the downtowns.
The draft document's beautiful, full of information, and is that a function of a good consultant, hardworking planners? But didn't you also mention there was a substantial number of surveys that gave the Planning Commission and the planners an idea of what is being expected?
Yes, sir. So one of the things we've tried to do, if you look at our previous comprehensive plans, they've been more of a history of how we got to 2019. What we've tried to do is look at this document planning out for 20 years. In our new comprehensive plan, we've tried to make it more concise. And so we went through a process of engaging the community. We utilized a community-based steering committee, so it wasn't just developed by staff from the city and the county, and engaged the business community, citizens from both the city and the county, and we met over the course of the last year developing the plan and putting it in place with input also from a community survey where we received over 400 responses to the survey. We had several open listening sessions where folks could come in and look at the draft document, look at land use planning, look at the things that are proposed, and provide feedback, and then we've taken that feedback and put it into a new document that projects what we hope to be some good things to happen in the Highlands over the next 2 decades.
Well, what's next? There's going to be another public hearing?
So we have presented the information at a public meeting. We haven't had a public hearing on the document just yet, but we presented the information at a very high level to the Alleghany County Planning Commission last night. They have the full document now. We will come back and meet with them at their regular meeting again on March 13th and have another presentation, receive their feedback. If they have comments, questions, we will address those, and then there will be public hearings where both the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors receive feedback and comment, and then ultimately adopted moving forward. The City of Covington will be following the same process. They have their first presentation to the Planning Commission in the City of Covington next week.
It sounds like this will be a document that doesn't just sit on a shelf. Sounds like the county and the city are planning to use this as a way forward.
that's the intent behind the document. The older versions of the comprehensive plan, like I mentioned before, were more of a history of the area, and they were documents that once they were complete, there's a statute, the Code of Virginia requires you to have the comprehensive plan. There are certain statutory requirements you have to have in that plan, and those documents met those requirements, but they didn't have any real vision or forward-thinking components for the future of the area to try to reverse the population loss that we're having. So we have goals in there, try to in timelines to try to reverse the population loss, achieve net zero, and then some modest population gain in the area. This document is in a different format and has different information in it. So the intent is to use this document, not finish with it, put it on the shelf. There's implementation strategies, there's timelines, there's responsible parties for doing so, and we're going to use that and try to hold folks accountable and make sure it happens.
Thanks very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.